What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into it because the Boston Celtics just dropped a preseason bombshell. Jason Tatum is out here doing things 5 months removed from an Achilles tear that, quite frankly, don't make any sense. We're talking standing dunks. Not just any dunk. He did a standing broad jump under the rim and threw it down like it was nothing. And then the most jaw-dropping part of it all? He says, I did that a month ago. A month ago. So for at least 30 days, Tatum's been dunking post-Achilles surgery like his tendons are made of vibranium. Now, let's be clear here. Achilles injuries are no joke. When a player goes down with that kind of injury, especially someone who relies on explosiveness like Tatum, we're used to hearing out for the season, long road to recovery, we'll reevaluate next year. But here's Tatum, less than half a year later, looking like he's gearing up for an All-NBA campaign. This isn't supposed to happen. Most athletes coming back from torn Achilles take anywhere from 10 to 12 months, if not more, just to get back into rotation minutes, let alone looking like they never missed a step. But Tatum? This man is built from something else. And while the video alone already had the internet buzzing, the real shocker came when Shams reported that Tatum has officially told the Celtics organization that he intends to play this season. That's not a rumor. That's not some insider whispering behind the scenes. That's a direct message. I'm coming back. And it's wild, not because we don't believe in his work ethic. We know he's a grinder, but because it's so rare to see an athlete come out this publicly and confidently and say, yeah, I tore my Achilles, but don't worry, I'll be back this year. Now, if you're like me, you're probably torn between being hyped out of your mind and just a little bit nervous. Because, yeah, of course we all want to see Tatum back on the court, cooking defenders, locking down wings, leading the Celtics to a deep run. But Achilles injuries are delicate. Just because you can dunk doesn't mean you're game ready for 40-minute battles against elite competition. You need stamina, rhythm, defensive footwork, lateral movement, all that stuff that only comes with time. So, naturally, fans and media have been split. Should the Celtics let him return if he's not at 100%? Should they wait till next season, play it safe, give him a full off-season to rebuild? And then we've got some medical perspective tossed into the mix. Dr. Nirav Pandya, director of sports medicine at Benioff Children's Hospital in San Francisco, reacted to the video and basically said, yeah, a two-legged standing dunk at this stage of recovery is actually within modern rehab protocol. So, on the surface, Tatum's not doing anything reckless. But let's not get it twisted. Being medically allowed to jump is not the same as being ready to play a full NBA season. Still, this doc also said he wouldn't be surprised if Tatum suited up at some point this year. Again, he doesn't work directly with Tatum, but that's still a telling comment. And look, we know how the narrative goes. Every injured star wants to come back early. It's part of the competitive DNA. They're not wired to sit and watch. But there's a difference between wanting to return and declaring you're going to. And that's the part that makes this whole situation so unique. Tatum isn't just working out in silence. He's letting the Celtics front office know. He's letting the media know. He's telling the fans, don't count me out. And that says a lot about who he is right now as a player, as a leader, and as a competitor. Now, think about the Celtics' position. They're in a weird spot because on one hand, you've got a generational star telling you he's going to be ready. That's the dream, right? But on the other hand, you've got to protect your long-term investment. Tatum isn't just a franchise player. He is the franchise. If he says he's ready in March, but the team is sitting at, let's say, the 8th or 9th seed with no real shot at a title, do you bring him back just to scrape him to play in? Or do you keep him sidelined, tank the rest of the season if needed, get a lottery pick, and reload for next year with a fully healthy superstar? It's a fair debate. Some say, if he's healthy, let him play. Shake off the rust now, figure out what he needs to work on, and head into the offseason with confidence. Others argue there's no point risking re-injury for a team that might not even make it past the first round, especially with how brutal the East is shaping up to be. And just to add another twist, let's not forget the general manager survey that dropped this week. GMs across the league, anonymous of course, put the Celtics all the way down at 8th in the East in their power rankings. 8th. Behind Cleveland, behind Orlando, even behind Detroit. Yeah, Detroit. I don't care what upside they're projecting. These dudes are wild. Last year, Those same GMs gave Boston over 80% of the vote to win it all. Now suddenly they're mid-tier? The disrespect is real. No Celtics player even got MVP consideration in that survey. Not one. Not even a pity vote. Meanwhile, they've got Luka Doncic listed as the best small forward in the league, which, come on, when was the last time Luka actually played as a forward? The man's been running the offense since day one. If anything, Tatum's been more of a forward than Luka ever has. But that's where it gets interesting. When you take Luka out of the mix, guess who's number one? That's right, Jason Tatum. So the same GMs who don't think the Celtics will finish in the top 5 in the East also think Tatum's the best small forward in the NBA? Make it make sense. You can't be the best small forward in the game and be part of a team barely scraping into the playoffs. Either you believe in the player or you don't. Either you think the Celtics core has championship potential or you're just throwing darts with your predictions. And speaking of the core, yes, there's been changes. Boston did some reshuffling this offseason, but the idea that they've broken up their core and are suddenly not contenders anymore feels like lazy analysis. This wasn't panic mode surgery. This was calculated roster management. They weren't going to be able to pay everyone, especially with Tatum's max extension on the horizon. Something had to give. Now, zooming back to Tatum's situation, what makes this so captivating is how he's approaching it. He's not backing away from expectations. He's not hiding behind the medical staff or using vague timelines. He's setting the tone. I plan on playing this season. That's the quote. And whether you love it or think it's risky, you've got to respect the mindset. And look, even if you're hesitant, even if you're worried this could all go sideways, just imagine the moment. Picture it. It's mid-season. Celtics are battling. The playoff race is heating up. Then, out of nowhere, bang, the glass shatters. The crowd erupts. Tatum walks out in uniform. Whether you're a Celtics fan or not, that's a moment. That's drama. That's why we watch. So yeah, maybe it's October. Maybe we're all still sipping preseason Kool-Aid, but let's not pretend this isn't one of the biggest comeback stories in the making. Tatum has always been a winner. From the day he stepped into the league, he's led this team to deep playoff runs, and now, even after a devastating injury, he's making it known he's not done yet. And just as we start dreaming about Tatum's heroic return, reality checks keep rolling in from every direction. Some fans are all in. Bring him back. Let him ramp up gradually. No pressure to carry the team right away. Let him get those 20 to 25 minutes per night, find his rhythm again, see how the body responds. Others are slamming the brakes. If he's not ready to go full throttle, why risk it? And to be honest, I get both sides. This isn't about making the 8th seed just to say you did. It's about building something that lasts. And when it comes to an Achilles injury, that lasts part becomes everything. But you can't ignore what this says about Tatum's mentality. The guy's obsessed with the game. He's not out here calculating his value or protecting his image. He's not doing a victory lap because he won a title and now coasts through recovery. He's locked in, focused, hungry, and that kind of energy filters down. Whether he plays one game or 30 this year, this is the kind of leadership that changes locker rooms. That energy's already having an effect. You look around at the younger guys, the fringe players trying to earn minutes in preseason, and you see it, hustle, effort, like they know every minute they're out there is being watched, evaluated. Guys like Josh Minott flying around on defense, Jordan Walsh showing flashes, even Hugo Gonzalez turning some heads. You can feel that sense of urgency. And part of that comes from knowing Tatum's watching, Tatum's setting the tone. There's no room to coast when your franchise player is 5 months post-Achilles tear and already dunking in practice. And speaking of preseason, let's talk about what's actually happening on the floor. Yeah, the Celtics are working through rotations, trying different lineups, letting the young core battle it out. But there's also been some disappointments. Baylor Shyman, for instance, shot just 23% in the first preseason game. That's not going to cut it. This team isn't looking for placeholders. They're looking for contributors. And if you're a wing who can't hit shots and isn't a plus defender, your time is going to be limited, especially with competition ramping up at every position. What makes it even more pressing is the fact that some of these guys aren't 19 or 20. Shyman's already 25 heading into just his second year. That means the ceiling isn't as high. The margin for error gets real small when you're no longer the young prospect with time to grow. If he doesn't start knocking down those open jumpers and playing within the system, he's going to fall behind fast. And it's not just shy man. This preseason is a proving ground. We've already seen players like Luka Garza come in and make noise. Offensively, the guy just knows how to score. Great screen setter, good touch around the rim, and smart positioning. Scal even compared him to a hybrid between Al Horford and Luke Cornett. That's high praise, though let's be honest, mostly about size and style, not impact. But still, if Garza can hold his own defensively, which is the big question with him, he might force his way into some backup center minutes. At the very least, he's showing that he belongs in these conversations. And then you've got Xavier Tillman. Look, I love what he brings in terms of IQ, passing, interior defense. But man, he runs like he's dragging cinder blocks. The foot speed just isn't there right now. I don't know if that's conditioning or lingering injury stuff, but it's something to watch. Because with the pace the Celtics want to play at, especially once Tatum's back, you can't afford to have your bigs slowing things down in transition. So yeah, while we're all hyped about Tatum's recovery, the reality is this team still has holes to fill. They need clarity on that wing rotation. They need bench scoring. They need guys who can switch on defense and still provide value offensively. And if those pieces don't emerge from the current roster, Brad Stevens is going to have to look elsewhere. But the good news? Preseason is exactly when you want to be figuring that stuff out. Now, let's swing back to the GM survey for a second. I can't help but roll my eyes a little bit at how Boston keeps getting overlooked. These same GMs who said the Celtics were a finals lock 12 months ago now have them 8th in the East, behind teams like the Knicks and the Magic. No hate to Orlando. They've got a great young core, but they're not exactly seasoned playoff killers. And Cleveland at the 1 seed? I mean, come on. That's a bet on a leap from Evan Mobley and Darius Garland that we haven't seen yet. Meanwhile, Boston still has Jason Tatum, injured or not, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and arguably the best defensive backcourt in the conference. And yeah, maybe some of these GMs are sour on the Celtics because of the roster changes. Maybe breaking up the Marcus Smart era stings more than they're willing to admit. But this idea that Boston's core was broken up like it was some reckless teardown completely ignores context. This wasn't emotional panic. It was a front office making tough, smart decisions. They had to look at the salary cap, at roster redundancy, at the fit next to Tatum and Brown. Not every move is popular in the moment, but the goal was clear. Get more versatile, get deeper, and put this team in a position to compete, not just now, but for the next 5 years. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are rippling through the NBA world as rumors swirl about a potential shakeup in Boston. Sources close to the Celtics organization suggest that head coach Joe MAZZULLA could be on the verge of being dismissed, sending shockwaves through fans and analysts alike. MAZZULLA, who has been at the helm with hopes of steering the storied franchise to a championship, now finds himself in what insiders are calling a precarious position, with the team's recent performances under intense scrutiny. Speculation first gained traction after a series of disappointing results that left the Celtics struggling to maintain consistency in both offense and defense. Although MAZZULLA has been praised for his energy and approachability, whispers indicate that the front office may be seeking a new direction, especially with pressure mounting from an increasingly impatient fan base. The rumor mill suggests that talks have been quietly underway behind closed doors, with potential candidates already being considered to replace him. Sources suggest that the atmosphere within the locker room has also contributed to the buzz. While no official statements have been made, the vibe around Boston appears tense, with players reportedly divided over the current coaching approach. Some insiders hint that the front office's patience may be running thin, particularly in light of recent playoff disappointments and missed opportunities to assert dominance in the Eastern Conference. Speculation is now turning toward who could step in if MAZZULLA is indeed shown the door. Names of veteran coaches and rising stars alike are being floated, each accompanied by heated debates among fans and analysts. Will the Celtics opt for a seasoned tactician, or will they take a gamble on a fresh face with a new vision? Only time will tell, but the chatter is already enough to ignite feverish discussions on social media and sports shows across the country. For now, the Celtics faithful are left in suspense, watching every press conference and post-game interview for hints of confirmation. Whatever happens, the rumor has reignited conversations about the team's identity, strategy, and future, reminding everyone that in Boston, nothing is ever taken for granted when it comes to basketball. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.